two hot spaces in the market right now, consumption and the other one being defense. So let's cover defense now. We've got Amit Anwani, research analyst at PL Capital, joining in on the show right now. Amit, hi, morning. Good to have you on ET now. Let's first talk about how the Q1 earnings for some of these companies and how they've panned out, because public sector defense companies have managed to perform so well seasonally, although it was meant to be softish Q1, while private firms have actually struggled. Tell me, what were the key factors that allowed the entire PSU pack to buck the trend?
Right. Thanks for having me. Good morning. Definitely, we saw BLHL delivering very strong number. This is coming on the back of very strong order wins they have had over past few financial years. We saw HL order book going from 30,000 to 1,90,000, and the current order which got approved yesterday, the order book this year would definitely be inching more than 2,50,000. So there's almost kind of more than 6-7x growth which has happened with respect to order book. Same with Bharat Electronics. We saw massive order inflows cumulatively over past two financial years. And the commentary remains very strong with QRSAM 30,000 crore order, which will be very lumpy, is expected end of this year. So I think this has led to now coming into the numbers, and we saw Q1 was quite healthy for Bharat Electronics as well as HL with respect to operating performance. And typically, seasonally, Q1 accounts for 12 to 15% of full year earnings. So if I consider that in mind, the full year seems to be on track with respect to execution. And we also saw orders getting clearances for HL. So definitely that sounds to be Q2 should also be kind of healthy. Yeah. So now coming to the other part, you said the private companies. I think typically we saw a few of the private defense electronic companies which are not currently under my coverage, but delivering kind of modest numbers. That primarily is also because the base quarters were keeping high for a few of these companies. And comparatively, it appears modest, but I can recollect few of the companies still giving very strong order pipeline prospects for the future years. Yeah.
What about GST reforms? Because the PM has very categorically said that next generation GST reforms are on their way. How will a potential shift to a simpler two-slab GST structure benefit defense, the raw materials that go by, and the entire manufacturing ecosystem? And do you think what we've seen in the previous quarter perhaps could just be a glimpse? And could we see a significant boost to margins for some of these companies?
Right. See, I think GST, we can correlate with the overall capex, which might get impacted if there's a revenue loss. Some calculations suggest that the revenue loss could be 1.4, 1.5%, which is kind of 40,000 odd crore overall, the kind of shifts which government wants to do. So I think, but that would also benefit the consumption which government is focusing. So I don't particularly believe that there would be the impact to the overall capex. In fact, the kind of announcements which have happened even on the Independence Day about the multi-layer air defense system, just like the US announced and just like the Israel already have it. So I think that will require a lot of investment capability creations over next 5 to 7 years. We saw announcements for indigenous fighter jet. So I think the government has been very critical with respect to reforms. I'm not seeing things coming down. In fact, I'm looking for this, structural changes in positive directions in coming years with this landmark announcements. So definitely, even the multi-layer air defense system will require a lot of surveillance, a lot of EWS systems, radars, and that will be highly beneficiary to defense electronic companies. If at all we are able to manufacture our own jet engines, we'll be able to deliver much more number of fighter aircrafts which we need. So we are running very short of squadrons We have approved about 40, 42 squadrons. We're just at 30, 31 squadrons. And on the top of it, there is a aging fleet which we want to replace. So we really need to build our own indigenous capabilities, which government is also critically thinking about. And I don't think that will get impacted.
Just taking a leaf of what you were saying, Amit, right now, because the Prime Minister did speak about Mission Sudarshan Chakra. Tell me which players could benefit, and beyond the big ones like a BEL, do you think the smaller ecosystem as well would emerge as key partners, perhaps?
Absolutely. See, the defense electronics is a critical part for any warfare, advanced warfare. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of surveillance system requirement and the radars, EWS, for this multi-layer defense systems. There's a lot of R&D which is going to require and which government is focusing through DRDO, the promoting startups to come out for all these products to be manufactured in advanced stages. But having said that, from the listed space, obviously Bharat Electronics is definitely a player, but from a smaller private players where we saw the profits growing multifold, I think they should be in the sweet spot if this reforms pan out even for the future years. So names like Data Patterns, Paras, Astra Microwave, these are few companies who have highlighted pretty strong outlook for them with respect to the order inflows and the kind of capabilities they carry in the defense electronics. Yeah.
Amit, a lot of announcements and positive announcements for the domestic defense companies, and we all know how much the current government is thinking large for the indigenization of the domestic defense space. And on the same lines, in the most recent update this week, government has cleared an order worth 62,000 crore for 97 Tejas jets. Now, how do you see this impacting companies, the larger players like the HAL and the primary manufacturers of jets, and which other players do you believe stand to benefit from this big order? Any component makers, radars, or electronic warfare system suppliers for that matter?
Right. So see, this 62,000 crore order which got approval was already in the pipe. And now with this 62,000, the HL order book would be growing to 2,50,000 from 1,90,000 at the end of financial year. So definitely a major boost. The deliveries will start after 3 years. There's a 3-year buffer time for first prototype production, and then deliveries will start FY 29-30. But this indicates a very strong pipeline and lumpy years coming ahead for HL, starting FY 30, 31, 32, where there would be major deliveries for these 97 aircrafts. At the same time, the current order, which they already have, the 83 aircrafts, where we are expecting 12 engines to come this year, and they'll be able to deliver 12 LCA Mach 1A. So definitely a major boost for HL for sure. And they have current capacity of about 24 aircrafts with to be manufactured each year. And they are just going to do 12. So there's a lot of potential to have much higher number of deliveries in subsequent 4 to 5 years. Apart from this, on our avionics and defense electronics sides, obviously, we saw players like Bharat Electronics supplying and already have an order book for the existing 83 aircrafts. L&T has been supplying the wings for LCA Tejas, so they would be definitely a beneficiary if there's a large lumpy orders coming in. And Dynamic Technologies has been supplying some part of fuselage of the aircraft. So definitely these are the companies who could be a possible beneficiary in next 5 to 7 years with this large lumpy order.
Samit, given the valuations that most of these stocks are currently trading on, what is your buy list like, and what's the whole list looking like?
Right. So definitely valuations are stretched on FY 27. My topic is HL still. As we saw the massive order book growth which has happened, the stock is trading at about 32, 33x on my numbers and about 31x on the consensus numbers. So kind of order intakes they have won, and kind of 7-8 years of good growth CAGR which can happen for HL. Definitely the company is in a sweet spot. The only challenge which they faced it last year is the engine supply, which now they have received 2 engines, and we are expecting 2 aircrafts to be delivered in the Q2, and subsequently there would be more numbers. So I think this is one company which is comfortable, but otherwise I think all whole defense electronic pack is about 38 to 42x. There are few shipbuilding companies not under my coverage, but trading at reasonable, I would say not very cheap, but reasonable 30-31x multiple Mazagon Dock GRSC, and there also there's very strong potential with respect to order wins, and typically the shipbuilding orders go for 6 to 7 years, and that will also boost their the strong revenue and PAT CAGR in coming years. So there's a few companies which are not under my coverage, but could be beneficiary of good order wins basis the pipeline. Yeah.
Interesting, Amit. So good having you on the show. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's